Jen, the Oregon Trail Gen X nerd, and welcome to this video series where I'm introducing you to the people who are attempting to do something extraordinary to get a film uncanceled. It's already an extraordinary situation. Actor Adam Driver revealed to AP News back in October of 2025 that he and past collaborator Steven Soderbergh and his team had put together a cool and cost-effective Ben Solo story for Lucasfilm, which was then put a stop to by former Disney CEO Bob Iger. This had never happened before, according to Kathleen Kennedy. And so fans who are heartbroken and who would otherwise invest their dollars and time in movie tickets and merchandise are instead investing them in lobbying Disney to re-greenlight the film. My next guest, Ilea, otherwise known in the Star Wars and Reylo community as Dragonwhiskers on AO3, is an animal lover as well as the photographer behind Supreme Leader Studio on Instagram. Ilea, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. And Dorian decided to come back again.
I love that he's showing us his claws there too.
Yes.
That's fantastic. He's wonderful. Ilea, thanks so much for speaking with me. Maybe you could start by telling us, where did your Star Wars fandom begin?
You can blame my father. Dad introduced me to a galaxy far, far away when I was around 6 with the originals. So I got to start my journey with the OT. And it's, come on, Jim Henson, the music, the cheesiness, the gorgeousness, the so much. It's just such a wonderful story, a wonderful environment. How can you not be hooked by that? How can you not grow up loving that? I'm actually a year older than Return of the Jedi. So I didn't get to see the OT in theaters, but I did get to see them at home. I got to see before, the original VHS unedited. So yeah, I got to start there. Definitely love the sequels up until a point. I'm one of those that the last one kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. I can appreciate that there are people like yourself. You say that Rise of Skywalker is your favorite. I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for people who can enjoy that movie. I walked out of that movie worried about my blood pressure. There's a lot of story choices and things that they did in Rise that I have to, as a storyteller myself, shake my head at and go, what? Those are choices, not good ones. Those are choices.
No. As a cinemaphile, I think we probably shudder at the same kinds of things, but I can get past them for other reasons. But I empathize on a lot of those terrible story choices.
And as I said, as long as somebody can get enjoyment out of it, great. Same thing with people who have criticisms of 7, people who have criticisms of 8, and I get that. As much as I love The Last Jedi, there are things you can pick apart and go, that doesn't make any sense. But then there's the overarching ideas, the overarching premise of it. And you have to look at these movies are for 12-year-olds. Yes. Kids get them. We're adults going, hey, I have to nitpick this. Why? Enjoy the story. And
exactly.
You're able to enjoy Rise of Skywalker. My husband walked out of that going, that was fun, while I'm got steam rolling out of my ears. Yeah. We had no need to resurrect somebody that Vader killed. Yes. Because kind of undoes that sacrifice that Vader did to save his son.
Yes, in a very unsatisfying way. But maybe let's shift the conversation to stuff that you noticed that I didn't. And I'd like to go back to The Force Awakens because you have identified as a Reylo and you do beautiful art. I believe that would be classified as Reylo photography. And you noticed something in The Force Awakens, and you mentioned it already, that I did not catch when I watched it, which was the bridal carry. So tell me a little bit about sort of what what you noticed, and then what you noticed, liked, appreciated about how The Last Jedi handled that, emerging romantic streak, and why, you are still interested in it in spite of, what the Rise of Skywalker did to mess up that story.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I when I was in the theater, so the first thing I noticed was the parallels. They did an
Mm,
excellent job. The original stories are told as traditional fairy tales, and you can argue they're technically told from the droid's point of view. The droids are
yeah, yeah.
watching this. R2 and C3PO are watching this happen, but it's told to you like a fairy tale that happened a long, long time ago. I noticed in The Force Awakens, the viewpoint was current. The viewpoint is now, and it's being
Okay.
told through Finn and Rey. Their POVs are what's telling the story. So you've got that dichotomy already. You've got a stormtrooper who decided, I need to leave. This is not right. You've got the reckless pilot, Poe, who he realizes is his way to escape. Then you meet the one who's going to tie it all together that you have no idea why you're meeting this person. And that's Rey. Like, why? Because she's on the same planet they just crash landed on, I guess. She gets
Mhm.
BB 8, and it's not being told from the droid's point of view anymore. It's being told through people. The finally you get R2 finally getting to meet, but before they even meet, she's already seen him in a force vision, and he's already been intrigued by her. First
Mhm.
time that
Mitaka, is
oh
that his name?
Matak, I don't know how to
Hmm.
pronounce his name, Dolph.
Yeah.
As soon as he shows up and he's like, hey, there's probably your father on the Millennium Falcon with the droid, don't kill me, and
Hmm.
a girl. And that is, Kylo immediately pivots. He's like, what girl? So you can tell he's already, just from that tiny little bit, why would that stand out? Why would
It must
that
have been something.
why would that stick in his head? Why would that cause that reaction? And then as soon as he says that, there's a hard cut to Rey, the girl.
That girl.
So you've clearly got, he's all in black, she's in very dirty, dingy, dirty white, but that's the white stand-in. So
Yeah.
he's all in black, she's all in white. Even if you want to look at it as a Hades and Persephone's view, he's dark, she's light. He's already got an interest in her. So then he finally finds her. He's in the middle of a battle and goes, oh, the droid and the girl went that way. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go that way, and he goes after them. What does he do when he sees her? Aside from, they're in a very brief one-sided fight because she's got nothing against him at that point.
Yeah.
He freezes her, gives her freaking elevator eyes as he's walking up to her. Literally, it's a full pan
It's a
down and
full
back up
scan. Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Walks around her. Now, yes, he does absolutely intimidate her, but he's calm with her. He's not violent with her. And everybody else, he's abrupt, he's mean, he's violent. And then the next scene you get the two of them together is the interrogation scene. And you have to, oh, and then that's when he does the bridal
The
carry,
bridal carry.
knocks her out, doesn't let her hit the ground, doesn't tell the stormtroopers to carry her, picks her up himself without letting her hit the ground. And also, that cut just before the stormtroopers walk up to say, hey, we need to pull out, we're doing something, something's gone wrong. He's this close to her. When did he get
Mm.
that close to her? He's literally looming over her, when before, when he was questioning her, he was behind her. So there was a moment when he clearly walked around and got in her face. Carries her onto his ship. Next scene you see of them is the interrogation scene. What is he? He's not mean. He's not yelling. He's not being sarcastic. Not it. Contrast it to how he treated Poe.
Mm.
He literally ripped information out of Poe's head. Didn't care, wanted to cause pain. Probably because Poe's his mother's favorite pilot. There's got to be a little jealousy there. So with Rey, he's calm. He's not looming over her. In fact, he's kneeling at her feet. And then she gets snarky with him, calls him a creature in a mask. He takes the mask off. It's the first
kind of like,
time
oh yeah, you think
you ever
so?
see his face.
Yeah.
It's the first time the audience sees his face. And it's because he chose to show her. The first person who he chooses to show himself, not the creature, not the mean guy, not the menacing persona. I've always described Kylo Ren as a character of a character. The character was always Ben Solo. Kylo is quite literally his armor. It's his way to protect himself because he can't turn Ben off as much as he tries. He can't make Ben go away. Ben is who he is. And Ben was too much for his family. Kylo was never enough for Snoke. Yeah. So that's that juxtaposition. Too much, not enough. Yeah. What do you do?
Happy place to be. Yeah.
Hide your face. So that's what he did. So then for her, he takes it off. She gets to see who he really is. Her first reaction is, oh no, he's hot. And if you don't see that in her face, because now she's actually more uncomfortable than she was before. Before she was snarky.
Would have been easier if it was just awful through and through, right? Like I'm ready for awful, and then oh darn it.
Oh no, he's hot, and oh no, he's hot. That was my first introduction to Adam Driver. I did not know of the man, the actor, before that scene. So I also had the oh no, he's hot moment.
At the same time, live in theater. Excellent.
Which is nice. I always appreciated an actor that is an attractive actor. I also can appreciate the man's talent because goddamn. But Han Solo was literally one of my first crushes. So the fact that now Ben Solo is the epitome ultimate crush. I'm sorry, husband. I love you dearly, but damn.
At first, my spouse had a hard time with the fact that we had Ben move in as well. So I empathize. For the first couple of weeks, he wouldn't even touch him. Like if I left Ben in the hallway to get him out of the office or something, my spouse wouldn't even I can't. Now I find Ben in places to jump scare me. His spouse is moving him around. He's accepted the fact that Ben has moved in.
Thankfully, my husband will literally he'll find something on the internet, like when 65 was getting ready to come out. He literally sent me a text that looks like I'm going to be watching you with your boy in the next movie.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, to bring it back to Rey and Kylo. No, that's okay. But I want to connect what you said because Rey is also a strong woman, knows who she is, knows what she's about. She's motivated, to do the things that she sees are important. We know that there might not be the right things, but like counting days till mom and dad come home, we were all predicting mom and dad.
Yeah.
But that's what she felt like she needed to do, and darn it, she was going to do it to the best of her ability to wait. I mean, she was, carving out an existence for herself.
The thing that I point out about Rey, and the thing that gets under my skin when I hear fan bros and people who just hated the character because she's a woman, there's no other bloody reason for them to hate her, was they're like, she's not, how could she learn that? How could she be that strong? How she's a Mary Sue? And I'm like, she raised herself. She quite literally had to fight, if not daily, weekly, to survive. She
Yeah.
could climb, she could dissect, because clearly she had to know what scrap was worth it to pull out of old Star Destroyers, and
Hmm.
they're crashed and half buried into sand. So she's constantly climbing around this rusted jungle gym
So yeah, she's
for her entire life. And she's doing that so she has food. That's motivation.
yeah.
Um I get so aggravated because they're like, well, how could she fly like that? She had a simulator and she taught herself to fly. Hence her comment, I am a pilot. We have a pilot. You get her escaping, you get him freaking out because now his dad's here and he doesn't really know how to, there's serious animosity there. There's clearly some problems. Um which both actors, Harrison and Adam, have spoken about. That was the only thing that got me to be even remotely come to terms. I can't even say at peace, but come to terms with Han's death was the fact that it was in service of trying to bring Ben back to the light. I knew and saw that was going to be the catalyst. That was going to be the start of Ben's journey back to the light. So then you
Hmm.
get their final confrontation on in the forest, in the snowy forest. He's wounded. He's emotionally torn up because he just killed his father. His uncle just shot him.
Yeah, Uncle Chewie just yeah.
You know, when they're on the cliff's edge.
Mm.
If he was genuinely interested in killing her, that's when he would have done it. Because all he would have had to have done is shoulder checked her, took a leg out, hooked her foot, swept her down, and just pushed her over the edge. He chose not to. He was waiting for her to make up her mind because he was basically begging her to let him train her.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay. So now we have emotionally distraught boy asking very, very powerful, scary girl who makes no sense why she's so powerful. I want you to come train with me. You need a teacher. That's that's not something enemies do to each other. Because clearly he sees her as an equal. He
Yeah.
wouldn't treat her like that if he didn't.
Can I ask a question? So we kind of covered the three, sequels and what's awesome about those and what's, troublesome I get about the last one. Um, Tell me a little bit more because you seem well versed in the idea of dark romance, and of course you are a fiction author yourself. What is it about Ben and Ray that just captures your imagination out of all the characters that could?
Okay. It's actually very many layered. One of it is visual. Those two look good together. And by that, I mean Kylo's aesthetic, Ray's aesthetic. Adam and Daisy are two extraordinarily lovely individuals. I will never say anything about either of them when it comes to appearances. They're both
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And so talented. I mean, both of them
Oh,
just so
absolutely.
talented.
Absolutely. You can have a pretty face and no talent, and I'm sorry, there's not that's just a pretty face. You might as well just be a
Yeah.
model. But to have the depth that the characters have, I'm one of those. I'm not Demi. I don't. I need to have a little more, but I can find a pretty face attractive. But I like with my characters there needs to be personality. There needs to be history, background, character shaping, which is I think why I got so irritated with Rise of Skywalker. They
Mm.
reverted their personalities, or at least it felt that way to me. To me, it felt like they reverted back to just angry at each other, and having to me the end of the return, or excuse me, the end of the Last Jedi felt like when he's on his knees watching her through the last force bond, she's on the Falcon. She pauses. She has a moment of, I didn't think I was going to see you again. And then her resolve kicks in, and it's, you're in the doghouse. I'm mad at you. He's on his knees. He is pleading with her not to go. It's all in the face, it's all in the eyes, it's all in his expression, and there's a little body movement. Because he knows he's in the doghouse. He's on the couch. He done fucked up. And that, to me, was the, okay, these two, this is the middle of the story. These two now have that, the power dynamic is now completely equal. They are clearly drawn to each other. They clearly have their own choices. He wants to stay and try to fix the First Order to make it something good. His entire botched proposal was about, let's build something together. Let's build something different, something that's never been seen before. And hers was, oh no. Because they went into that scene, they went into that gorgeous fight scene united. And then they realized they still had different goals and wants. And I thought that was a bittersweet yet excellent point, because they hadn't actually communicated anything. And I think
No.
when you have relationships starting, communication's really important.
Yes. Well,
And
they
if
actually
that,
told us they were both making giant assumptions, right? They said, I saw your future. No, I saw your future, without articulating really exactly what they thought they saw.
so for me, the push and pull between the two of them, the dynamic between the two of them, yes, the visuals, I love the costuming, I love the look of the two of them, especially together. um I thought her going to a slightly darker outfit and kind of reverting back to her desert robes with the flowy gray thing was
Mhm.
cute, but it's not actually clothing. And that's actually something about her look that's always kind of gotten on my nerves. It's never actually been real clothing. I did not care for her going back to all white in The Rise of Skywalker, because now she's looking too virginal, too nun, too I'm pure, you can't touch me. And no, they were both going towards light and dark, dark and light. She should have been gray. Because Luke, if you look at him and his progression in costuming, he did white essentially, tan, and then black.
Black. Yeah.
But that whole, the symbolism of when that fell open and that you saw that white peeking out from under, that was, that's what they needed to do with Ray. She needed to have a strong persona, very present, very upfront in your face. I am in charge. I am now a Jedi Knight. And still show that she's still good. She's still light side. They didn't. They just put her all in white. And I'm like, who fights all in white? That's
and
not
and and
practical.
no, definitely not practical. I'm a Deadpool fan, It's like I wear red so people don't see me bleed. So white is not particularly practical.
No.
But Ben then, since I have Ben right here, so what is it about Ben then that is so interesting? We raise this powerful female character. What about Ben?
Well, again, he's a solo.
Goes a long way.
um, so Kylo, you got to see his dry humor. You got to see his snark. You got to see he is a fucking beast when it comes to power. He is a very, very powerful character. I mean, he took a bowcaster to the stomach, and all he took was a knee. So that brick shit house is clearly an incredibly powerful individual. Yet he's also very intuitive and very sensitive.
Mm.
He clearly cares, if it's only for one person, clearly cares about Ray. I absolutely
Mm.
love the touch her and you'll die vibes, that he's going to protect her, he's going to take care of her. So when you see, I've got a blaster my uncle gave me and a sweater running in with no plan to save her, I'm sorry, that's the most solo thing you can do.
Hmm. It
Um,
was.
I was incredibly disappointed that all we got was ow. I was incredibly disappointed that we did not get more Ben, because the shift from I am stiff, I'm cold unless I'm raging, versus animated body language. You actually see him exerting himself, how much
Hmm.
effort it takes for him to fight. And he's good at
Hmm.
it, clearly, but you the complete flip is
Yeah.
why I love Ben, because Ben was always underneath Kylo. Kylo was a prop. Kylo was a cosplay. Kylo was a
Yeah.
mask.
Yeah.
Ben is who he was always underneath there. And you got to see little bits of it here and there. So to me, it just shows Driver's abilities to play two characters at once.
Mm.
Because he was literally, Kylo was a projection Ben was doing. So underneath there was always Ben.
Yeah.
Um, and just his utter devotion, like he literally was willing to throw everything away because she said to him, I wanted Ben, and he went,
Yeah.
oops. Because
Why
that's
was that
the
not clear earlier? Darn it.
that
Yeah.
that's oh, I've seen some hilarious comics, and
I'm
one of them
sure.
was I don't understand women.
Well, that is a nice segue to Adam's attempt to bring Ben back to life.
When I heard Adam had dropped that bomb in that interview, which
Hmm.
all props to you, Adam. You knew what the hell you were doing.
Seems
the
that
reason I
way.
say that, the reason I say that is, were you familiar with the GoFundMe that came out right after the disappointment of Rise of Skywalker? When that hit, people put out a GoFundMe, and I don't remember the total, but it was huge, and they contributed all to his Arts in the Armed Forces.
Mm.
He got told about that and literally stopped what he was doing and made a short little thank you video. So that right there, and what he said in that interview about how we loved the character so much, and he was still shocked that they had spent money on a ticket and then turned around and donated to this GoFundMe. He was shocked. He did not realize what fan base he had. I still think he's kind of keeps himself in the dark, because we know with social anxiety and how sometimes fans can really terrify him.
Yeah.
Um, but I think he knew what he was doing, and I think either somebody in the industry said, "Hey, man, you probably should leak this because you got an army." Um, so I think that was wholly intentional, and I do hope that it was in hopes that we would do something like this. We would do the campaign, that we would do the fan movement. I would love to consider, the Save the Ben Solo campaign as the inverse of the fandom menace. We aren't trying to get people to run away. We aren't trying to scare people off social media. We're trying to get something made that we love
We're
and
like,
get it.
come
Yes,
back.
yes. Get
Come
it, get it,
in.
get it made because it deserves to be made.
Yeah.
The fact that he wrote the ultimate fan fix it fic, I want that movie.
Hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
it was an absolute tragedy, rip off, cop out, pick a word. for how badly they screwed his character over. We are living in a day and age where sacrifice by suicide is no longer looked upon as a good thing.
Ooh.
And the fact that, again, JJ doesn't know what he's doing is just all the more evident.
Yes.
He did not, JJ couldn't understand why his children liked Anakin because JJ didn't really care for the prequels.
Mm.
Ryan actually liked the prequels. I am when it comes to those, but the fact that there are people who like them, who understand the story that was told, because even George Lucas said that the first chapters 1, 2, and 3 weren't as interesting as chapters 4, 5, and 6, which is
Right, which is why
why
he started there.
he started there. So it's like, yeah, political intrigue. We're currently living in it, and I hate it.
Yeah. So take me to there's for a lot of people who are involved in the Save Ben Solo, the Hunt for Ben Solo campaign. There's before October 12th and after October 12th. And so what happened to you in the week of October 12th? What was your mind frame? What did you do? Walk me through
So
it.
I have a Raylo group chat. We've been together since 2020. And they're kind of like my core Raylo gals. I have a couple other groups. I have some other Star Wars groups. I have some other toy photography friends. But these gals are my oh God, Adam just dropped a king bomb. And uh, the conversations were flying. I mean, we were all like, what's his AO3 handle? We were like, do we know? Can we find out?
Exactly. Can we guess who might have tested some ideas there? Yeah.
Yeah. Because we had all been just down. We had all been just, and I can say me personally, I was in a slump. I mean, I was still doing my photography, but that was a hobby I picked up mainly for myself because I really needed to see those two together. And I am an artist, but my illustration skills are not where I would like them to be when it comes to illustrating these two. I have drawn Driver quite a few times, but I'm not particularly good at drawing Daisy. And I've practiced, and I'm just still not happy with it yet. Photography was my outlet for that. I was able to bypass my illustration skills with that. Same with my storytelling. But I started January 2016 was when I published my first Raylo fic. To give you an idea how long I've been writing these two. I saw end of 2015 in December, saw The Force Awakens, was so irritated and intrigued at the same time. I started writing and I started putting it out on AO3.
Yes.
Hence, everybody's like Dragonwhiskers. I was like, I needed something ridiculous.
They can have whiskers. Who says they
It
don't?
sticks. It stuck. Actually, I've always thought dragons are just cats. So whiskers. Um,
Whiskers. It works.
yep. So my writing had been severely writer's block, lacking. The creativity just wasn't there. The spark wasn't there. Which really annoyed me because I still have stories to tell, but the drive to actually type was not there. I've still got some stories that are like literally waiting on the last chapter, and I feel bad about that. But I am working on them. But it it literally invigorated me. It was the kick to the ass that I felt my love of Raylo and my will to be public about it needed. And the fact that it came from Adam
From the
is
man himself. Yeah.
all that he is the expert on Ben Solo because he got to flesh out a lot of Ben's background. He got to flesh out his choices, got to do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there had been comics in between, and I have all of the comics, and then the new announcement about we're getting a continuation of the Legacy of Vader comic.
Mm-hmm.
I have my opinions on those. They're not necessarily favorable, but I still own them. I still have went and purchased all of them because it's more it's more Ben, it's more Kylo. And as much as I love Kylo, I don't want past stories about him. I want new stories about him. I want
Mm.
the future. I want Ben Solo. I don't, if they never make the movie, make a cartoon, make a book, make a comic. If you can't or don't want to put the money into a movie, do it in another media form. I actually, when my girl group, my Raylo girl group, and I, we had discussed 2020 doing a continuation if they did it in a cartoon series,
Hmm.
because you got to go to the world between worlds. You're going to have to show all kinds of unbelievable, crazy force stuff to be able to bring him back. You're going to have to take the soul he gave to Ray and put it back in the body. So we had all discussed, it'd be awesome if they did a, Clone Wars style cartoon, if they did a TV series, if they did
Mm.
something. I would be willing to see another actor play Ben Solo if they're continuing the story. I don't want to see baby Ben. I don't want to see teenage Ben until we have a good story about him as an adult.
Mm.
Because
Yes.
there were people, myself included, crying when he died. And it wasn't good tears, it wasn't happy tears. It was tears of you did what?
Mm.
And it was a very poor choice because it was a very poor choice. I'm sorry. I could continue to expound upon why it was a bad idea, but I think we both know it was a very bad idea.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Makes me want to go Sith.
And I don't think anyone would blame you.
I
Absolutely
mean,
not.
I'm going to just dwell in negative emotions. I might as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm
So,
like,
so you and your Raylo community were like, we want stories about future Ben, and Star Wars is one of those settings where there's all kinds of different ways to bring somebody, back from the dead. It sounds like you had already worked it out with your group. So you're like, there are ways to do
we
it.
we just had an excellent cartoon run about Maul. Darth
Yes.
Maul, a dude who was chopped in
Chopped in
half,
half. Yeah.
and they brought him back. I'm a 44-year-old woman. Pander to me for once.
That would be nice. Yeah, you and I have a fair amount of disposable income when we're both working and, available to commit a lot of time as well, as we're both doing
I
to
have,
the
yeah,
franchises we
51
love.
stories that I have written. Yeah, that's my count right now. It's 51. I
Wow.
have more that are unpublished because since my inability to seem to finish a story is kind of getting to me, I'm going to not publish anymore until I have them completely written. That way I don't have to leave anybody hanging. Um,
Mm.
I've got over 1,000 photos that I have put out. Clearly, this takes time and editing,
Hmm.
and I have way too much Star Wars, particularly Kylo and Rey um, memorabilia. Now, a lot of the more expensive ones I did buy secondhand, but I have went out of my way and purchased stuff full price.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
before things went to shit, but uh,
Mm.
or like even like I held this up. This is 3D printed
It's
and I painted it.
beautiful.
So yeah,
Wow.
that is my replica 3D print. My husband printed it for me and I painted it. And it's
Stunning.
to scale, which shows you how bloody large his lightsaber is.
It's not messing around.
This is to scale,
Yikes.
accurate size. And that's just one of the things I have. I have art prints from Raylo artists. I have Star Wars artists. Um, yeah, we women do and will put money into Star Wars. So it's frustrating that that all the hate gets shoveled on us for what we want to see in Star Wars, which is why I love this campaign. We're being positive about it, but we are
Mhm,
still being very overt. The New York
mhm.
Times Square billboards, the two trucks, the most recent truck. Oh, that truck made me so happy.
Mhm. It was so
Um,
much fun.
oh, the flyers, you guys, when you were at the con in Toronto, Ben in the background back there. Exactly. Clearly, we care. We are invested. We want to see this happen. If it never happens, as long as Adam knows we are trying, I think I'll be okay with that. But I'm still going to write my own version,
Of course, absolutely. That's the wonderful thing about fiction is we can do that. Um,
which is one of the reasons I never got understood why people get so kind of squicked out over fanfic. Who
yeah,
is it hurting? Nobody. It's fiction.
nobody.
These are characters we like and we're going to play with. I think
Yeah,
I have a very good understanding of the bad wiring in Ben's head.
yeah, because you've written so many thousands of words about it. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even want to look at the word count. I don't even want to look at it.
That would be an interesting exercise. To your point about the campaign, though, yes, it is. There are a lot of women involved and who are interested. I can tell you from our social media stats, because some social media platforms that we use, do give us a gender breakdown. And most of them it's just men and women, but whatever,
They
but
won't
so
give us
people who
the in betweens yet,
we
and
don't get the in-betweens yet on those platforms, but we know that a lot of people who follow us where gender breakdown is binary tend to identify as women. And so yes, to your point, that is not the typical market that Star Wars originated, probably, marketing to. But they're the group now that's very interested in everything that's going on in Star
absolutely.
Wars. And so, yeah,
My
I would love to see more stuff that's catered to us as we're
my
here.
husband is the original demographic. He is in his 50s. He saw the movies in theaters. He had the toys growing up. He was the original demographic. And even he, like I said, he did enjoy when we walked out of that theater. He thought it was fun. Did he think it was good? No. As much as he thought it was fun, he didn't think it was good. But he's able to make that distinction. And we've talked about it, and he's in agreement. He thinks it is unfair that this is what we get shoveled. You're gonna love this. So I think I mentioned to you before, my husband's a dead ringer for Gary Oldman.
Yes.
So
And he is. I've seen a photo.
we used to cosplay the Potter characters because he looked like Sirius Black. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that anymore for obvious reasons. And so he came up with the idea. He's like, let's retire the Potter characters. And I was like, thank you. Getting tired of asking my trans friends if that was okay or not.
Mhm.
So he was like, I got an idea for what we can replace that with. And this was right after the first season of Mando came out. And he's like, how about some Mandalorian armor? I was like, so we put together those Mandalorian armors, and this is where you could put up a photo of that if you would like.
Oh, please,
Uh,
if you give me one, yes.
Absolutely. And so I went and dug up because he was like, well, creature, what Star Wars creature could we have as our emblem? Since Pedro's character, Din, had the Mudhorn. He's like,
Yeah.
what? And they always have the Mythosaur, and Bo-Katan has the Night Owl. What
Mhm.
could we do? What could be unique for the two of us? And I immediately, my brain went to a Lothwolf immediately, because they're keepers of the Force, they're guardians of the Force.
Of
And I
course.
was
Okay.
like, and I wanted to, and I haven't done it yet because the armor's still, even though it's wearable, it's finished. I still consider it a work in progress. I want to take Mandoa and have on my breastplate or the side of my helmet or something and I literally am going to have it in Mandoa, save Ben Solo, or Ben Solo lives, or something like that. Um,
Love
because
it.
I want to. And only nerds who know how to read Mandoa are going to be able to read that. And I actually have some nerdy friends who can do that. I'm not
Excellent.
fluent. I have a translator. I have the script, so I'm not that good yet. I mean, I could do it in Arabic if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I want it in Mando. I'm wearing Mandalorian armor. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah, it makes more sense.
and so we have the emblem on our shoulder pieces is the Loth Wolf,
Very good.
and we ended up getting finally accepting to get into a Mandalorian troop, but it's not cosplayer Mandalorians. This is a gentleman who has his pirate crew, and the pirate ship is the Mandalore's bounty. And
Oh, that's
so
so cool.
they consider themselves Mandalorians, even though they're pirates and bounty hunters and all that stuff. And so he asked us, finally, we agreed because he's been asking us for years. And we agreed to do it. And I've got my little mythosaur emblem on
Oh,
our scarf. So I've got
well,
my
congratulations.
official.
That's
And we wear
awesome.
those with our Mandalorian costumes. So my husband wears his on his shoulder. I wear mine hanging off my belt. And that's just to show because we're Rennies, we do the local Renaissance, the Ohio Renaissance Festival. The Ren Fair is our home away from home. We've been there all the time. I have now glomped 3 different Kylos that have shown up at the Renaissance Festival. Um, yeah, they usually don't see that coming because the fairy queen will literally run to hug them. I do ask permission first, though. I do practice what I preach.
Yes, if I'm
Um,
screaming on the way, can I hug
no, that first poor boy, I felt bad for him because I literally was right here. And I was like, can I hug you? Tell me I can hug you.
you? I'm ready.
But he was not expecting that. His name is Austin. We're friends now. But yeah, he literally was like, sure. I glomped him so hard I knocked his helmet askew. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But this is the sad part and the funny part. I had to run back to the line because I was in line to go to the bathroom. I really had to pee.
oh.
So I was like, I got my hug in, and I was like, I'll be right back. Ran back in line, and I'm like, oh man, I was on cloud 9. So then
Oh.
I get to go to the privy. I come out, and he's at the pub, which was where I usually post up. And so I come out and I go, thank you very much. Now can I get a couple photos? And he's like, back to uncombobulated, and
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I discombobulated the crap out of that poor child.
I am
And
sure. Most people don't want to hug Kylo Ren. It's not one of those,
I
as you
ran
said,
up all
Chewie, yes. Kylo, not usually.
and I hugged Chewy too, and so I get some pictures with him, and this was when my husband and I still dressed as the Potter characters. So I was dressed as Nymphadora Tonks, but I was doing a gothy Tonk. So I was literally in a black mini skirt, underbust corset, and bright pink bubblegum wig with
Hmm.
fishnets.
That checks
And
out.
my husband was Sirius Black. So he's in the prison jump jammies, and I get pictures with this guy dressed as Kylo, who I do not know at the time. I literally said in before one of the photos, "Tell me if I get too gropey," because I don't want to cross lines.
Yeah.
And so we get our pictures, and I don't see them till I look at them later, and I realized I knocked that boy out of character.
Oh,
I flustered him so much he was out of character because in the pictures with me, his head's tilted, he's leaning, his
oh.
hands are relaxed, and I'm literally like, I'm ecstatic. My husband, so he gets pictures with Sirius Black, my husband, shoulders back, chest puffed out, head straight, fists clenched.
Back in
And
character.
I'm like, I knocked that boy out of character.
No. He probably hadn't had an experience like that. I'm sure the next year he had it down, like, all right, I'm gonna be tough now.
So, well, this is the funny thing. So, flash forward a couple weekends. we're back at fair because my husband and I, we work there. We go every weekend. We're back at fair. It's Viking weekend. So everybody's dressed as a Viking. And my husband and I are back to being the fairy king and queen because it's not cosplay weekend anymore. So
Yeah.
we are back to our normal roles. I play Titania, he plays Oberon, and we are Fey royalty. So
Mm.
he's at the bar getting some drinks, and he notices a group of Vikings that are just staring at him. And he's like, okay, gets my cider and his cider, and he walks over, hands me my cider, and he goes, I'll be right back. Walks over to this group of Vikings. Gentlemen, welcome to the Renaissance Festival. Are you having a good time? How's the day going? Love the costumes, talking to him about it, or outfits.
Yeah.
We don't call them costumes. And
Yeah.
one of them goes, he was Kylo Ren. He's pointing to his buddy. He's like, he was Kylo Ren. And Jeremy goes, my husband, he goes, I'll go get her. They recognized him. They didn't recognize me.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, your
I
hair wasn't pink anymore.
I look wildly different when I dress as my characters. And so Jeremy comes over, my husband comes over, he leans down, he goes, hey, your boy Kylo's here. And I went, I'm going to be disappointed. No, literally, I'm going to be disappointed
Oh,
because I knew it wasn't going to be Adam Driver.
the fantasy was going to evaporate.
I'm like, oh. Well, see, prior to this, like the day after I glomped Kylo, I went back to fair because I glomped him on a Saturday and it was Sunday. I'm walking around fair going, does anybody know who that guy was? Because I don't know who he was. I never saw his face. I don't know who I glomped. And I'm like, I don't know if this was some 17-year-old or some 80-year-old dude. I don't know. And I'm like, and I think I
That's funny.
traumatized him. So I need to find him to apologize. So
And I
then
guess you had no luck.
a couple weeks later, I get to apologize. And I get to meet him. His name, like I said, his name's Austin. He's
Mm.
very, very sweet dude, very, very humble and flattering and the word I'm looking for. He just was very, very sweet.
Good.
And he humoring, there's the word. He was very humoring of me. Um,
Aw.
and so I was like, hey man, I just need to tell you, I think I need to apologize. I think I traumatized you. And he's like, oh no, 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 no. All his buddies behind him were going like this.
Yeah.
They were like, you didn't see how red he was underneath that costume.
Aw, sweet
They were
thing.
like, you flustered him for the entire day.
That's
And I was
sweet.
like, did anybody else come up and approach you? Because this was like, I want to say this was like 2000. If it wasn't 2016, it was like 2017.
Okay.
And
So
no,
after The Last Jedi.
it was post Last Jedi. It was post Last Jedi because he told me some woman yelled he should take off his shirt.
Woo! My. Okay.
And I was like, hmm,
He was playing Kylo, not Ben Swolo. Come on.
exactly. And so, but again, Austin's a very, very sweet dude. He's a very understanding guy. He knew that it was the costume.
Yeah.
But he's humored me a couple times. He's come back to fair as Kylo for me. His wife came with him, dressed as Rey. I
Nice.
think she was marking her territory, but I wanted to be like, no, no, honey, no, 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 no. He's very sweet. He's very nice to me. No,
Don't worry.
he's not my type.
Yeah.
But again,
Aw.
very, very sweet dude. And I have made it publicly clear on most of my platforms, I will glomp any and all Kylo cosplayers. I see you dressed as Kylo, you're going to get asked if you can get hugged. And one of the guys that I am now also friends with came because his buddy was like, I know a girl who really likes Kylo. So this got him interested in coming to fair to meet me.
I know, of course, Renaissance Fair is not the same as belonging to the 501st, which is a very different experience. But I can share that at Toronto Comic Con, I got talking with members of the 501st, and including Vader, and there was a Kylo Ren as well. But the people who helped wrangle them, because when you're in those costumes, you can't see much, right? So they had wranglers. were sharing that their, at least for the Toronto garrison, their Kylos and Vaders are probably the nicest people that they have in the entire garrison. So they're perfectly happy to be in photos. So maybe that's true of other people who choose to play those roles. I don't know.
I do know a couple 501st members. We've got some here in Ohio because there's the
Oh,
Columbus
cool.
chapter. A friend of mine is an honorary because he's actually a licensed Star Wars artist. Um,
Wow.
yeah, Jeff Carlisle is actually a associate of mine.
Cool.
We're like friends of friends, but we still, we when we're at events together, we socialize.
Yeah, yeah.
He actually put my husband, me, and one of his best friends, who's one of our friends, who was actually one of our groomsmen, in one of his Star Wars pieces.
Aw.
Yeah. So we're canonically in front of Nan's Theater on Tatooine. I will send you the image. And there's Jer's a Jedi, and I'm thinking I'm Sith, but I'm not 100%. I have to poke him to get the actual answer.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
awesome.
I am in a canonic licensed Star Wars piece. My likeness is actually that, which is fascinating to me because I've got Mikey, our friend Mikey's in the middle, Jeremy and me, and it's a picture that got taken at one of the cons here in Columbus that Jeff took of us. Um, so he made Mikey and Jer Jedi, which is why I'm thinking he made me Sith, or he could have been
Has
playing off Amidala's costumes because
to balance.
I was in my comic or Fairy Queen costume when he took the photo. So, but yeah,
Very
it's
cool. But again, light and dark have to balance, right? So
oh
somebody had to
yeah,
be a Sith
and
there.
my husband knows me well enough to know what side of the force I sit on.
Excellent, excellent. So
I
I
mean,
have two.
I may play the good fairy queen, but I collect Darksiders.
It's a-okay. So I have just one more question, and then we'll kind of do a mop up if that's okay. So my
Absolutely.
last question is going to be kind of what keeps you in this, steadily growing community of fans who are really eager to see more Ben Solo?
So for me, what keeps me grounded in this is the artists, the art,
Mm,
the creativity, the fact that the Raylo community is full of artists, extraordinarily talented artists. You have a prime example over your shoulder. We are full of creative people. This dynamic between these two, this world, this setup, the way these two are, literally captures other creatives' ideas, or not ideas, our imagination. It literally got its hooks in us and won't let go. And it keeps getting more. We keep getting more into this fandom. And it's been 10 years since the original, or not the original, you know what I mean, the first introduction
Force
of these
Awakens.
characters,
Mhm.
and it's still growing. And I wish Disney would pay attention to that. The fact that characters that were introduced in 2000 at the end of 2015 are still gaining new fans. So many people fell in love with Ben Solo for the brief, less than 5 minutes we had him on screen
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
Why? Why in your right mind would you think it's a bad idea to bring that guy back? It's the fact that there are so many. I have made so many friends that are talented, that I just admire their work, their writing, their artistic visions, their unique styles. Um, I've made friends with the toy photography, and one of my friends he's a Rennie friend, and he started talking to me about his Star Wars toy photography before he knew I did it. And I went,
Cool.
"Oh, what's your Instagram?" And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because here's mine." So the one that I'm getting is from The Force Awakens, and I've got a couple beds, and I don't care for the face paint on them. So I'm either going to 3D scan them and print them myself and repaint them, excuse me, or I'm going to just repaint one of those and then do a head swap on the body, repaint the body. I'm going to make a Ben Solo. I mean,
Good
if
for you.
Sideshow and Hot Toys wants to make a Ben Solo, I will drop 350 on a Ben Solo,
Yep.
brand
Lots of
new.
us would.
Exactly, and that's what gets me is if they did not. I mean, I will save and I will do what I need to because all of my Hot Toys that I use for my toy photography, only one of them that I bought brand new was the Rise of Skywalker Kylo. And the only
Mm.
reason I bought him is because the head sculpt is phenomenal. It looks enough like Adam that I'm happy with it.
That might be a helpful question for fans of yours, actually, is what are some of the biggest challenges of being Supreme Leader Studio and taking those photos?
Finding time to shoot because I like to do at least three or more setups per session, but I'm finding I don't have the time, so I have to do like one setup. And then I have to have the editing time. And that lightsaber, I've gotten Kylo's lightsaber down. I have a flow for how that goes, but I want to improve it because it's not wholly screen accurate yet. And
Hmm.
I would love to get it screen accurate, but I'm not quite there yet. I have Adobe, so I use Photoshop. My other friend I mentioned, he actually has asked me to Photoshop for him lightsaber effects as well as blaster effects because he likes
Cool.
to use a lot of Mandos and stormtroopers. And he just got a Balin skull, so I'm going to be doing his lightsabers for him,
Cool.
which I told him that's absolutely no problem. I've got everything set up. So that is, I get to collaboration is fun. We haven't done any collaboration yet, but I have a feeling we're going to because we just
It'd
spend
be a
too
good
much time
time.
bullshitting together that it's fun. Um, but difficulties for me is finding the time and trying to find new and interesting backgrounds because
Mm.
unfortunately some of my backgrounds were AI and I didn't realize that because I got them off stock websites.
Mm.
So I've been trying to like weed out the ones that I know are AI because I don't want to support that. Um,
Yeah. It's a
but
helpful caution
Disney,
for other creators that you've got to look a little more carefully, even if it's stock art. Yikes.
yeah, and that's it. It
Whoever
was
would have
stock
thought?
art, and I was kind of bummed because I just sci-fi fantasy or sci-fi background, and I just grabbed the ones that look cool because
Yeah.
they were background images. I wasn't thinking too much about it, and then I come to realize that Adobe's got a lot of AI in their
Mm.
stock art, which I'm like, oh, great. I've had a lot of people comment that they absolutely love my photos, that it makes them so happy to see that I have that dynamic of Kylo and Ray, and when I have his helmet off, I usually call him Ben. Um, but when you only have one head sculpt and it's still got the scar on it, and it's Kylo. Um, I have looked into buying a head sculpt that um, I could ask them to remove, the scar or fill it in.
Mm.
Um, I've thought about buying an extra head so that way I could possibly do that. I mean, my husband and I do have 3D capabilities.
Fair enough.
We've got the printers, we've got a resin printer, we've got a 3D scanner. Um, Mainly because he wants to do more armor, more props for costumes, things like that. And I'm like, print me the light Death Star hallway, please.
Well, that's the end of my questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover, Ilea?
um, well, I did mention how the specifically for me because I'm in the Raylo community, we are creatives. I didn't know if you
Mm.
had noticed.
I did notice it, but it wasn't close enough. That's beautiful. Ah, very good. Now, are
So
those edits that you
like,
did yourself?
yep, I like playing with resin. I like playing with photographs or picture illustrations in the case of the Ben on the back. But that's a photo from Adam's Rolling Stone shoot, and
Oh,
it's him
yes.
holding his helmet. Knowing that he kept a helmet, he kept a lightsaber, he probably has chunks of the costume. That just makes me so happy. I'm curious what Daisy kept. I'm sure she kept something.
Haven't heard her
Um,
talk about it. No.
no, no. But to the point of the creatives, what we make, what we do, the amount of Raylo fanfic authors who are now published New York Times bestsellers.
Hmm.
Oh, that makes me so happy because there are some amazing stories. Like I have read fanfic that has made me cry, that has made me laugh, that has made me like just emotional on all levels. And I humbly hope mine has done that to some folks too. But I have no aspirations of being a professional writer. I never have. I have been encouraged by a couple dear friends who started out as fans who have become friends. I've made friends, like I said, via my fanfic writing, via my toy photography, and just getting on the Raylo forums, just getting into the Star Wars forums of the people who are like, well, we're ostracized over there, so we'll go make our own network. Thank you, Blue Sky.
Hmm.
I absolutely love the fact that the Blue Sky logo was inspired by and influenced by our Raylo blue butterflies.
Do you want to
Um,
put that story on the record? We can always
sure,
remove it if you're not happy with it.
sure,
So,
we can
how
definitely
did
do
Blue
that.
Sky end up with a butterfly? Because, like me,
So,
a lot of people might have thought, well, Twitter had their little blue bird, and when the new one launched, they just picked up another blue flying thing.
so how that happened, and again, it all goes back to us Raylos. So when Disney put out the Rollouts cartoon, and they did a three-part of the Rollout cartoon called Ben and the Bug Hunters, and it was Baby Ben, and the rollouts are all these little round balls, kind of look like BB-8 in silhouette. There's this image of baby Ben being, and it's probably toddler Ben, being floated on all these little blue butterflies, and they glow, and they're a representation of the light side of the force. And so Raylos latched onto that like you would not believe, because that came out post 2020. So we were all like desperate for some indication,
Hmm.
something that the light side of the force never gave up on Ben, that Ben was still with us. And Disney understood we wanted Ben stories, so they gave us Baby Ben. I roll my eyes at this because I don't want Baby Ben. I don't. Baby Ben would be fine if we had adult Ben living a good life.
Hmm.
So, flash forward to the Raylos. We are literally using blue butterflies now as a way to signal each other, to communicate, to be like, hey, I'm one of us. And it triggered so many grown men were getting angry at a little blue butterfly, to the point where when it showed up in The Mandalorian, where Grogu was
Yeah,
trying,
Grogu's
got
calling
to
for Luke. Yeah.
summon the Jedi, a bunch of little blue butterflies show up. And yeah, I literally saw grown men freaking out over a little blue butterfly next to a little green puppet. Um,
Uh,
the Schadenfreude is real. So then a lot of Raylos went digging, and they found some comics with Vader. And Vader was in a meditative state. He was trying to track, I'm assuming, what happened to him, what was going on, because he ended up talking to Palpatine. He ended up looking at his mother's history. He ended up talking to Amidala. All this while he's meditating, and the things floating around him are little blue glowing bugs. Now, the author said he always imagined they were fireflies, but he goes, they could be butterflies. They're just a representation of the light side of the force.
Mm.
That is where we went, otters, gimme. And so we were like, that's a representation of the light side of the force. Um, and they love Ben. They rescued Ben. They take care of Ben. So yeah, everywhere. We had them everywhere from about whenever that rollout cartoon came out till, now.
Hmm.
And
Still
so
using it.
when Blue Sky popped up, we all kind of were migrating off Twitter anyway. So when Blue Sky popped up, it was invite only. It was beta, it was invite only, and it got flooded with Raylos. And
Because you were looking for a home.
we all started using that blue butterfly because we all wanted a social network that we could use to communicate, to share our art that wasn't
Hmm.
censored, that we could, have our conversations and also get left alone. Because you I've been harassed on Twitter for being a Raylo.
I can imagine. The fandom menace is real.
I'm one of I don't know how many thousands. So we always try to find a social network that we could, and the blocking and the ability to just not deal with that shit on Blue Sky is fabulous. So yeah,
Yeah.
migrated over. And it again, mass migration. So we all started putting the blue butterflies in our handles as a way to identify each other, as a way to be like, oh, I don't know this name because we're on a new social network, but it's got a blue butterfly. Let's go see if they're a Raylo.
Yeah.
And we all connected that way. We all branched back out again. But then when Blue Sky started looking for what to use, clearly they were going to use blue sky, makes sense. And then they start seeing all these blue butterflies. They stated the logical reason was because for them, they thought it was people using it to denote blue sky. No, it was us using to denote we were Raylos.
So Blue Sky is kind of named after Ben Solo. I like
A
it.
little bit, a little bit. So yeah, they adopted a blue butterfly. The first time I saw that logo when they finally adopted it, like all of my friends, we were losing it. I mean, it was just party central hilariousness because we're like, um, by the way, do you know what you just did? So yeah, we've been calling Blue Sky the Raylo network for forever.
That's awesome. I love it.
But
I
yeah,
love
it
it.
is quite literally because so many of us use that blue butterfly, which I've got. This is one I made with
No,
a jewelry bezel, and
very
it's
pretty.
multicolored in blue, and it glows in the dark because that's radio UV light reactive glow powders. Um,
Very nice.
I play with resin and I make things, and I love making those butterflies. I sent the silver bezel ones out to my Raylo girls. I've made little about 5-inch ish marble busts. They're not marble; they're painted to look like marble busts of Kylo and Ray. They're 3D printed. I painted them up to look like marble. I sent them out as Christmas gifts.
Oh,
There was a time where after I sent them out, the girls all put them out online, and then I had people going, "Can I commission?" And I'm like, "Sure,
that's
absolutely."
awesome. Love
I was
that.
like, I think I was selling them for $35 a pop because it does take time to paint them,
Of course.
print them, paint them, ship them.
Yeah, and
Um,
there's the cost of materials and so on. Yeah.
I've had
So we'll
two
include links
rounds.
in the description box, right? Just in case people see
We
something.
could absolutely do that. I've sent
Awesome.
out 2 rounds of those for commissions, and I had enough money to replace my phone and fix my car.
Wow.
I literally was
Popular.
joking for a while that Kylo was my sugar daddy.
Disney, are you listening? Ben Solo merch sells. Come on, get your marketing team talking to the
Absolutely.
movie makers again.
And I don't have like a Patreon. I don't have an Etsy page. This is just me. And think of the people who like do the stickers, do the posters, do the fan comics. I've gotten some beautiful fan comics that I've purchased because I want to support the artists and I want
Yeah,
the stories.
yeah.
Um, It's just, yeah.
There's some beautiful
It,
ones.
it's we Raylos talk with money. I would love for them to pay attention. I would love for our campaign to genuinely get through to some of them. I mean, I go out of my way occasionally. I'll tag Josh and I'll tag Dana and I will tag Lucas and I will tag Disney. And it's mainly me just saying, you need to make this. You need to let this film
Yeah.
come to light because it's wanted.
Yeah. Well, my fingers are crossed that maybe there's an intern or something that's been assigned to pay attention to us, and at some point they're going to write a report, that
I think if
that
we
blows
keep
someone's socks
making
off.
I think if we keep making enough waves, if we keep making enough positive waves,
Mm,
because I do agree that it needs to stay positive. I know that negative gets more attention, and I don't want to go negative. I don't want to be the fandom menace. I want to be the inverse of that.
yeah.
I want us to be the opposite of that because we're mostly women. As we discussed, there's the in betweens, and if we're stuck
Mhm.
describing it in a binary system, we're mostly feminine. We're mostly interested in the redemption arc, the what it would look like afterward, because
Mhm.
clearly he's going to have to atone. He's clearly going to have to face the repercussions of what he did, which is why killing
Yeah.
him was such a bloody cop out. We got robbed of that
No, no, we did
because
get robbed.
that,
You may have heard
yeah,
this story, and people who watch my videos may have heard this story, but because it's appropriate, I'll share it again. So I can remember sitting at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, and in those like 8 seconds or so, I think, where Ben and Ray are alive, sitting together on the floor of the destroyed throne room, I leaned
longest kiss
over.
scene in any Star Wars movie.
Yes. It feels like a long time, but it's about 8 seconds. I think I timed it. And so I'm bad. I whisper in movies when I'm excited. So I leaned over to my husband and I said, the next three movies are going to be epic. Because in my head, okay, like, so we have that military industrial complex that we saw in Canto Bight. They're going to have to rip that down. They're going to have to deal with whatever's left of the Jedi Order. Ben's got to be justifying his ongoing existence, to the rest of the galaxy when most people would just like to hang him. I was like, because all the plot threads are there in TFA and TLJ, like they're all there, like really exciting things that the next three movies were going to make $3 billion more for Disney. And
Oh,
I couldn't
oh,
believe it. From a business lens, I couldn't believe it. Actually, I'm a counselor. Like, what do I know about business? But I knew TFA and TLJ had made gazillions of dollars.
yep,
Like, why would you kill him? And I cried
yeah.
too.
Because again, if you look at continuity, when you always have prequels or you always tie in stories, you always have continuity flaws. People are never
Mm-hmm.
going to get the continuity completely correct. And that was their way of trying to fix the last time I saw or Darth Vader killed your father. That
Oh, yeah.
was them trying to fix Obi-Wan from the original saying that Darth Vader killed Anakin Skywalker.
You know
And
what's really funny? I never had a problem with that.
yeah,
I didn't need the fix from the Obi-Wan series. I never had a problem with that. What I told you was true
because
from a certain point of view. Yeah, you know what? You're right, actually. Yeah, that is kind of true from a certain
uh-huh,
yeah,
because to
never had
become
an issue.
Darth Vader, Anakin had to go bye-bye, which is
Exactly.
something that he was able to do, which was
Yeah.
something that's very clear that Ben wasn't able to do.
Again, this series kind of came about where there was this rumor going around that we were what we call AstroTurf campaign that Disney had paid us. That'd be great. I'd love some Disney money, but no.
Again, back to the whole, hey, I'm a graphic designer looking for a job. Hi, Disney.
Exactly. Yeah, you hadn't picked up the cues. Yeah.
Nope. And
Oh,
yeah,
poor guy.
that was no. Hi, baby. That's my leg.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm getting clawed. Come here,
that's
you.
okay.
Come here.
Is that
No,
Grendel or Dorian?
Storian. It is, yeah,
We're
Grendel.
talking about you. That's the
Yeah,
problem. Yeah.
but
We're talking. Don't get scratched on my account. Oh, and you're black.
oh yes, He's an all black baby.
Beautiful boy. Oh,
This
yeah.
is the one that almost got named Kylo. Of usually 2 or 3 DeLoreans parked out front.
Love it.
Cattail.
Hi, buddy.
But Grendel.
We're trying to talk about DeLoreans, buddy. Come on.
And this is
Oh,
Grendel.
oh,
This
you're
is
a
my 12 pounder.
tuxedo.
This is my big boy. Hi, baby.